Got some Bosch Platinums. That little tip is completely burnt off. I think it's time for some new spark plugs. Or maybe that's just how the spark plug is. No, I think... yeah, I think this has one of those little pins. Like tungsten pins or something. And now all I see is a hole right there where it used to be. Unless that's just how this particular spark plug is made. Just gonna go with some of these cheap auto lights for right now. I do an upgrade later. Copper core. And they will probably need to be gapped. So we're gonna go 0.035 inches on these. For right now, I might need to go a little bigger because it has that Mallory ignition, and it might be a bit more power going to these plugs. And I know with an HEI, sometimes we'll gap a little bit bigger. Okay, I cannot find my spark gap tools anywhere, so I had to order a couple more. Got the standard gap tool and high energy gap tool. The high energy gap tool starts at 0.040, so maybe I'll try that since we have the MSD type ignition in there, which I have finally looked up, and that is called a capacitive discharge ignition. It puts out a lot more than your standard ignition system. It was actually a pretty interesting read getting into that stuff. It's pretty cool. So anyway, got some awesome tools here, made in USA by Lang. So I'm just going to go up from 0.035 to a 0.034, since that's where the high energy tool starts at. Okay, so that's the number 2 cylinder spark plug. Actually, got a pretty small gap on that. Looks like your standard 0.35-ish. 0.035. So this is the standard size gap tool. Let's adjust it with the high energy ignition gap tool. Does not. That does look like it's probably a 0.035. That's what I gap everything out to. Maybe that's all it needs. But we'll try the 0.04. I've been reading online. A lot of people will do 0.040 to 0.045. Few different websites I found where people are talking about the gap sizes. Again, if anybody has any input on that, let me know. Okay. Lang. Alright, 0.035. That's weird, it goes 0.035 to 0.034. It's a very small increment. Yeah, that's gapped at 0.035. We're going to try 0.040. See what I think about that. It's a good little tools though, I like that. So number 2 cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Mark all these and just see if I can see any evidence of coolant leakage in any of these cylinders. That plug definitely has some wear on it, on the surface on the outside. I can't tell what that's... You know, if that gaps out to 0.035 as it is, I think that little hole is supposed to be there in that electrode. I've just never seen a spark plug like that, so that kind of made me think that electrode was burned all the way down in there. But maybe it's supposed to sit flush. But it's definitely time for a change. Okay, here's the rest of the spark plugs. Got a couple that are looking rusty. It's got kind of this orange looking dust on it. Looks rusty. There's another one that's number 1 cylinder, number 4 cylinder. Both have that rusty look to them. Number 8 cylinder, looking pretty normal. Number 5, normal. Did not come out too easy. Number 3. Number 6 cylinder. There's it, number 2 cylinders. Yeah, number 1 and number 4. Both got a strange look to them. I don't know if that's because the coolant's leaking in there, burnt, running too hot, or what. But if they all had this orange deposit on them, I would say it's, I have read that that could be fuel additives causing that. Okay, not a whole lot of good information on the internet about what this could be, except oxidation or corrosion. And since it's only on 2 spark plugs out of 8, I'm thinking these are the 2 that might be leaking coolant through the head gasket. So I will keep an eye on the number 1 and number 4 cylinders when I take that engine apart. So let's do 0.040. Alright, 0.040 inches. Get it to where that wire slips in there, to where it just slips in there. You can't wiggle it back and forth or up and down. Alright, I'm going to go through and put a little dab of copper anti-seize on these. Just a little dab. We will replace the spark plug wires later. These MSD ignition, a set of these is like $126 or something like that. Really expensive, so we'll hold off till next payday to do spark plug wires, cap and rotor. Just get these new spark plugs in. Okay, got the new spark plugs in, tightened up. Let's go ahead and start the truck and make sure I didn't mix up any spark plug wires. I may have mixed up these first 2, number 1 and number 3, because I forgot to label number 1 before I took off number 3, and those might have got, I'm pretty sure I kept track of them, but let's go ahead and make sure. Alright, it's running. Still running good. Maybe even picked up a couple horses after that spark plug change. Looked like it needed them. For the vacuum advance, it tees off and goes over. To the charcoal canisters. It's got a double charcoal canister in here like the RV did. Okay, let's take a look at this cap and see how that's looking. I can't afford to replace this right now, but we can at least take a wire brush and clean it up if it's real bad. I can't really get the screwdriver in there. There we go. Yeah, got a little corrosion in there. Okay, so the standard fix for this is just to replace the whole cap. I could probably use it. It's getting rusty. Plastic's getting old. But that cleans that corrosion right up. No problem. Next payday, we'll replace this. It also might be getting sold here pretty soon, so trying not to put too much work into this. I gotta move on to the RV, even if it doesn't get sold. So we're just gonna clean things up here a little bit. Center pin looks pretty good. Just go ahead and rub it off anyway. This has a little corrosion on it, a little carbonization. Okay, let's see about checking the timing. I've already taken a look down here and there are no timing marks. There's only this little pointer, which I'm not sure if that's even a pointer. It kind of looks broken. Or there's just some corrosion on the tip of it or some kind of stuff. But it looks like it... I can't tell. Boy, that vibration damper really needs to be replaced. Gasket in between the two pieces is looking pretty rough. Yeah, lots to do, Probably. Anyway, let's just check the timing and see how well... I mean, there's no marks, so thankfully I have a timing gun that you could set the timing electronically. Alright, got the engine getting warmed up. Let's go ahead and highlight this balancer mark, wherever that one too. Okay, got that mark. Rotated down toward the bottom. Clean it up and Trying to highlight that a little bit. Got a paint pen here. Try to get it in there if I can. Yeah, it kind of just made a mess, but I did get it in that line, or in that slot. I could see it better. And again, kind of dirty though, but that should work. Vacuum Advanced is disconnected. Alright, so let's go ahead and set this to 10 degrees. That's a little behind the pointer. Okay, it looks like 7 degrees lines it right up at that pointer, so actually 6 degrees looks like that lines it up right on that pointer. So I still don't know if that's that pointer marked 0 or top dead center, but it should be around 10 to 12 degrees, I think, for its initial timing. If that's the case, it is off a little bit, so I'm going to retard that a little bit more. I forgot to loosen the distributor so it can be rotated. Oh, what a pain. Had a bent wrench just for doing this. I don't know where it's at. Well, there's a couple places I can look. Okay. And before I move this distributor at all, I'm going to mark its original location. It's just a little line. A line on the bracket. And a line on the distributor. There we go. That way I can line it back up if things don't seem right, since I'm kind of doing things by without a gauge down there on the block, or a number indicator, whatever that's called. Okay, so we'll set that 12 degrees. Plugging out this vacuum port with the other end of this vacuum line that's already pinched off there. 20 RPM. Sounds a bit better. Had to disconnect this high throttle solenoid. It seems to always be on. And it's sticking. And it doesn't seem to be adjusted right either. It doesn't really do anything. So let's just leave that disconnected. Tape this up so it doesn't short out on anything. Yeah, I don't know how you adjust that. Is that bolt just unscrew out or something? Is that a bolt? I don't know if that turns. Anyway, I'm not gonna mess with that. So 12 degrees set at that mark. Seems to be pretty accurate. Seems to be work. I don't know if that is the proper mark, but that seems to be working for doing the adjustments. No dieseling. Hose down all these linkages with some WD. Okay, filter box put back on. Vacuum lines reattached. Vacuum advance on the distributor reattached. I taped off this positive wire, which never seems to turn off. Goes to this high idle solenoid, which I don't even know how that's controlled. Usually this is, the high idle is controlled by vacuum through a thermal valve. So maybe there's a thermal switch somewhere. It doesn't ever turn off though. So I don't know. Anyway, that can stay disconnected. It didn't work anyway. Double check for tools, parts, things laying around. Getting a little more steam out of this pipe than that pipe. Although it's cold outside, so yeah, the exhaust does have moisture in it, obviously. But I think I get a bit more steam out of the passenger side. We'll find out when I take that engine apart. Right off the bat, Jimmy already seems a little more responsive. I think I should look at that wheel next. Because that noise is getting a little worse the more I drive it. dare say Jimmy has picked up a few horses. Nice. Yeah, he's definitely running better. Some holes in this driveway. I could probably turn up that idle just a little bit, but yeah, maybe a little bit. Mess with that later. All right, Jimmy, you're. Check your dieseling. No dieseling. Turning down the idle probably helped just as much as adjusting the timing on that. But yeah, he's running just a little bit better. Sweet.